Oh, really?
Yes, we are live on diamondclub.tv, so if you want to
Oh,
use that
wow.
easy. And we're on the same chat.
Hello, chat realm.
We're live, I think. Soon-ish. Now,
Yeah.
maybe? I don't know.
Yes, we are officially live.
We are so
Uh,
very live.
yeah. Hello,
Alright.
people that are watching.
This is the part of the show where PD Rave pretends like he's not ready, but he actually is.
Oh, oh, oh. There's things making noise.
Where?
Okay, there was I had the previews open. All right, so we're live on diamondclub.tv, so if you want to use that easy. And we're on the same chat.
Hello, chat realm.
We're live,
Uh,
I think. Soon-ish.
No.
Now?
Yes,
Alright.
we are officially live. Okay, so everybody's ready to rock and roll. People that are watching. Happy to have chat room along for the ride too. Fanny Pack Wrestling in 3, 2,
Wait, let me mute my thing. Alright, we're good. Sorry.
and 1. Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. I am Petey Rave, your man with no plan. Here with me, as always, are my friends, my confidant, my tag team partner, David Jeffrey Majors, aka DJM. How you doing, DJM?
Buenos nachos, muchachos. DJM here, and it's time for another episode of Fanny Pack Wrestling. If you are seeing us for the first time on diamondclub.tv, we appreciate you, we thank you, and we welcome you. PD Rave, my friend, we normally cover the wild and wonderful world of independent wrestling, but today we're doing something just a tad bit different. It's indie flavored, but we're dipping our toe into the evil empire. Tell us about it, PD.
Yes. Yes, we're talking about the recent kind of, I guess you would call it, since you didn't specifically pay for it, the recent Supercard or live special event by NXT, their latest in the NXT Takeover series, NXT Takeover, Our Evolution. It was a kind of a big showcase, debuts, final matches, redemption, a lot of storylines, a lot of interestingness. And I had to, let's talk about who we got joining us with this. DJ, who do we have joining us today?
Well, first on the dock, a brand new invitee to Team Fanny Pack. He is the founder, executive producer, managing editor, the just overall boss in charge of all the things you see at anime3000.com. The future of anime and manga will be under the guise of Mr. Sean Russell. Sean, thanks for coming on Fanny Pack.
Thank you for inviting me. I look forward to talking about the wrestling.
Yes.
Glad to have you, Sean.
The wrestling and the grappling and the whatnot.
Also on the show with us this evening, a regular to Fanny Pack Wrestling. You can find him on the Twitters at Foster on Sports, talking all things sports ball, the incomparable Rick Foster. Rick Foster, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for the invite. I really appreciate it. Let's talk about men in stretchy pants. Let's get this going.
Get to the stretch pants.
Let's talk NXT. Now, Petey, you talked a little bit about NXT just a bit. The reason I picked out this show, I guess you could say it's part of the Awesome series because, well, yes, this show was pretty damn awesome. In fact, it was so awesome that the R Squared Circle subreddit forum sent Triple H, the guy running NXT, they sent Triple H a fruit basket.
Paul
The show was so
Levesque.
good. They said the Cheeto Munchers, as Rick Foster likes to call them, were so happy with this show, they sent the uber evil man, the great Satan of the internet wrestling
The
community.
man with the biggest shovel. They gave him
They
a
sent
basket.
Triple H a fruit basket because this show was of such high quality. PD Rave, let's dive in to Our Evolution.
Yeah, Our Evolution was an interesting event from start to finish. Starting off, I think the first thing we find is a debut we get one of the biggest debuts in recent NXT history, which is Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens. Kevin, a man we know by the name of Kevin Steen, now reborn, rebranded, well, on certain ways. Still the same old, fighting dude that we know, but kind of under a new name, nice tribute name, and with an interesting debut, a cool video. And I have to ask, first impressions, and going into like this first video and meeting Kevin Owens, I'll ask Sean. Sean, what was your first impression when this started up and you got to meet Kevin Owens?
When I first saw Kevin Owens, obviously not having a huge background with NXT, but being familiar with NXT, he really reminded me of a Husky Harris type of persona, and that I love the fact that the crowd was really behind him. And for first impression of Kevin Owens was my first impression of the whole entire world, and it really reminded me of that old ECW. Just the crowd really behind everybody, and how they were really behind him made me want to get behind him. I'm seeing that he was a fan favorite. So that my first impression was I thought I was going to see some really cool stuff out of him.
Mm-hmm. And we certainly saw some cool stuff. But yeah, DJ.
One thing that has always kind of been special about Kevin Owens is that he does kind of have that big guy persona in the vein of a Husky Harris, but along with being extremely athletic. The old phrase, he's athletic for his size, does not apply to the former Kevin Steen, now Kevin Owens. He's just straight up athletic. Yes. And we got to see some of this just in his NXT debut. Rick, you knowing Kevin a little bit more like the rest of us, what did you think of seeing Kevin Owens' debut?
That was definitely one of the more impactful debuts. I guess I was expecting Owens just to kind of come in, get a couple minutes of dominance, and then just kind of wham bam, thank you, man. But I mean, they actually
and then his nose got broken.
Yeah, exactly. And they gave C.J. Parker a little bit of of time, of offense and things like that. And I can bring in like another outside opinion. My girlfriend had watched the first hour with me, and she said, "Wow, like that," because I was like, "Oh man, this is really exciting. This guy is coming in. I know him. I talked to him one time after a Chikara show, and I said, yeah, man, how do I get big like you?" And he's like, "Just eat everything in sight," just like in a Canadian accent. So I mean, I kind of had that personal bond with him, and you can see. I mean, this is his goal of getting in. I mean, when he first walked out and he gets that ovation, you can kind of see him a little bit teary-eyed, just a bit, and I kind of got teary-eyed too for a moment, just knowing how hard he's worked to get to that point, and very, very impactful debut. Probably the best I've seen in a really long time.
I don't know if you guys saw the video packages on previous episodes of NXT, but they did a really great job of building up Kevin Owens and then telling his story about how he was in a tag team with Daniel Bryan, and then he got called up. Adrian Neville, he met Adrian Neville all the way back in 2006 when Adrian Neville was still just wrestling in England. He, of course, as we all know, he's the longtime friend of Sami Zayn, who is really good friends with Kevin Steen's tag team partner, El Generico.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
break.
I don't think they've, ever done they've broken that fourth wall like they have, which is very, very interesting.
Mentioning life outside of their own company, like they have.
It's the reality era, you guys. They always talk about the reality era, but here we are. They're acknowledging these guys and their time on the indies. It started, of course, as I've said many times on Fanny Pack. We're in a post Daniel Bryan world. We're in a post CM Punk world, where now these guys coming from the indie scene are getting this huge opportunity, and the fans are welcoming them with open arms. And just starting out this first segment of this show, it really made Kevin Owens' debut look like a big deal, and by all accounts, he killed it, and
Yes.
that was a great start to the show.
Mhm.
It got the show really off to a really good start.
And I think credit should go to CJ Parker too, just because I mean he's for a character that is it's so weird that CJ Parker is a bad guy when he's trying to improve the world type scenario. But I mean, hats off to him. He definitely, I think he's the best debut guy in the business because I mean he did this last time with Baron Corbin when he debuted at that last Supercard as well.
Also, from that palm strike when he broke Kevin Owens' nose, I don't know if you saw the photo on Twitter, but it actually gave him a pretty good cut on his hand, like all the way down to the bone. So CJ definitely showing some toughness as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, moving on into the rest of the show, Petey.
Yes, we're talking about the next match. We have the current holders of the Lucha mantle in the WWE company. The Lucha Dragons, consisting of Kalisto and the aforementioned Sin Cara, I believe, taking on, defending their NXT Tag Team Championships against the Vaudevillains of Aiden English and Simon.
It's Vaudevillains.
Vaudevillains of Aiden English and Simon Gotch. Kalisto is one guy that's like a recent hire, not too long ago. I think maybe this last year or the previous year.
Yeah.
Of course, Sin Cara is a character that has been around in the WWE for quite a bit, maybe possibly portrayed by more than one person.
No, never.
No. Which is really, I think, as properly Mexican as that character can be, is a mask that's worn by multiple people. I think that is a nice, good, proper Mexican. It's appropriate. It's a proper Mexican tradition to have more than one person be a particular character. But the Lucha Dragons versus the Vaudevillains, and that's go to you, Sean. What was your first impression? What was your feeling as you saw these guys, knowing Sin Cara's character? And getting, I guess, your first impression of Kalisto.
I was hoping to see more out of them. I'm going to be honest. I was a little disappointed. I haven't been too happy with the portrayal of Lucha Libre on WWE, mainly because the fans don't get behind them as much as I would hope they would. And I think the pacing of this particular match didn't lend to them really doing some amazing stuff. What I was really... Are we just talking about the Lucha Dragons right now?
We're talking about the whole match.
The whole thing.
Yeah, whatever you like.
My thing that I really took away from it was the Vaudevillains.
Yes.
I first of all, I'd never seen them before, so seeing them for the first time, I was like, oh my goodness, this could either be really awesome or really horrible. And I guess you get more of the impact when you see their vignettes and things of that nature. But just the whole black and white and them coming out, I was just like, this is awesome. But
in the lead up to this particular show, they did a few kind of vignettes where they were done in the old silent movie style, where the Vaudevillains were the good guys and they were stopping the nefarious Lucha Dragons from committing all sorts of naughty atrocities, and it was all in black and white and silent movie style. And the Vaudevillains, they have a very indie type of thing where, yes, they're supposed to be heels, they're supposed to be bad guys, but nobody actually really hates them, because they're wonderful.
They're wonderful. Even knowing that we've seen that.
Even with Kalisto, the former Samurai del Sol, who is absolutely phenomenal. With anything with the Lucha Dragons, keep your eye on Kalisto. My God, he's fantastic.
And he used to be in PWG. Is that correct? Okay.
Samurai del Sol. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dragon Gate USA as well. Evolve as well. I saw him at WrestleCon. He for being a Hispanic and being kind of a short stature for Lucha, he is an imposing figure. Dude is swole.
Now, I mean, with Kalisto and Sin Cara, and I know they have they're missing that Lucha mask person in the main roster. Do you think maybe like Kalisto and an improved Sin Cara? I mean, from the last time I saw him, do you think he could fill that Rey Mysterio void?
It's gonna be Kalisto. I don't
Okay.
have any doubt about that in my mind. I think Kalisto. I remember what Rey Mysterio Jr. was like in WCW when he first burst onto the scene, and he was revolutionary. I see that with Kalisto. The only guy that I think might be on his level in terms of just high flying ability is Adrian Neville. I think Kalisto, along with Adrian Neville, are going to be those guys when they get to the main roster that are just going to be must-see television.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kalisto will be off the charts good.
Yeah. I think the one disappointment, and I always go back to kind of this disappointment, and I know it's just kind of an existence, especially with mainstream American wrestling, is that knowing the fact that in Lucha Libre in Mexico, luchadors have gimmicks, have personas, whereas in American wrestling, especially the WWE, specifically the WWE, Lucha is the gimmick.
Yes.
And it all gets boiled down and just simplified to that, which is kind of, it's sad. I know I should probably resign to the fact that it's going to be that way, but it still disappoints me. It still makes me a little sad.
Yeah, but I think that Kalisto has that talent and has that ability that he is going to make that work. Like, anytime you see the Lucha Dragons, he's the one that always gets the crowd the most fired up, going Lucha, Lucha, Lucha.
Oh yeah,
Lucha.
But I feel like the main WWE roster doesn't lend to really exploiting his talents or exploiting those really high flying luchadors in the ring. And what ends up happening is you have a Rey Mysterio situation where they try to make him appeal to the kids, and he ends up just being squashed by a Big Show or a Big E or something to that nature. And you don't really see those types of matches that really make Lucha Libre what it is.
Yeah,
Well,
it's tough because
I will
think
say,
historically,
Sean, there are a couple of guys that I know for
Yeah.
a fact that are big heavyweight WWE guys that know how to be a base for luchadors. One of them being Cesaro, the other being Daniel Bryan, God willing he comes back someday, and a few others that know how to work with guys like Sin Cara and
like a Luke
Kalisto.
Owen, like a Luke Ryan,
Luke Harper as well. So it's not completely hopeless. It's just a matter of WWE allowing it to happen, but that does remain to be seen.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hope for that. I think again, the vaudevillains are a delight.
And yeah, the vaudevillains. You hope that WWE creative and the main roster appreciates what they are and doesn't change them, because again, this is NXT. It is a developmental company, and everyone that watches NXT has a certain level of appreciation for the vaudevillains.
Go ahead. Sorry.
With a lot of things in NXT, there's always this kind of undercurrent of what's going to happen if they get called up to the main roster. There's always that kind of feeling, that little bit of fear of not getting too attached. And that's kind of how I feel with the vaudevillains.
I was about to say the same thing. It's a brilliant gimmick for 900 people, 1,000 people. I don't know how well that translates to a 22,000 crowd on a Monday night or a 80,000 filled for WrestleMania. There's just some gimmicks that are great that won't translate mainstream, and I honestly think that as good as the vaudevillain gimmick is, I don't think it could translate in a mainstream thing. I've been proven wrong multiple times, but I think this is, out of all of the characters that were portrayed on Revolution or NXT R Evolution, that's the only gimmick where I can't see that jumps to the main to the main stage at all.
Yeah.
I feel I feel real quick, and then
Go ahead, Sean.
60% of that supercard to me, of its appeal, came from the audience. Like if that audience, if there wasn't that audience participation, the show wouldn't have been as good as it was. And I don't think that unless you're someone like Daniel Bryan, who they really worked up that whole underdog angle where he had to have had the support from the audience, or he was nothing. I don't see that whole arena kind of being on that same page with all the chants that they did.
And that's kind of one thing that I guess a lot of WWE fans often don't get with NXT or indie shows, in that there is a good amount of crowd interaction.
Oh, yeah.
Because in a lot of ways, when you go to a smaller show like this, if you're in the crowd of 500, 600, 1,000 people, in a lot of ways, you're a part of the show. Yes. And you play a factor into how the viewers at home are reacting to what they're seeing on the screen. And I'm going to get into that in the tag team match between the Ascension and Hideo and Finn Balor.
But before that,
really get into that in just
we
a
have
second.
one match before that, and I wanted to end on one thought. I do dig the Vaudevillains, but they do make me long for Jervis Cottonbelly.
And Thunder Kitty as well.
And Thunder Kitty, of course. The lovely Thunder Kitty. But yeah, moving on to the next match, another kind of showcase match more than anything. We had Ty Dillinger, God's bless him, going into the ring with the lone wolf Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is an interesting person. I really don't have that much experience with Baron Corbin specifically, and he definitely left an impression, specifically in the fact that they've made he finishes his matches quick into a thing, into his gimmick. In a world that does not necessarily long for less than a minute matches. The fact that they successfully turned it into, I guess, in this little universe that you want to call the NXT universe, turned Baron Corbin's I kill fools in less than a minute thing into a gimmick, a la Taz back in the day. Oh wait, no, that was a very specific thing that I'm misappropriating. Never mind, forget that reference. Baron Corbin. I'll go to you, Sean. What was your impression of Baron Corbin?
When he first walked out, I was thinking he could easily have been a replacement for someone in the Shield. Like, just the way he was packaged. He looked like a Roman Reigns light, and mixed with Daryl from The Walking Dead. But when he came out to the ring and he actually started wrestling, I was just kind of like, all right, what's going to happen here? It wasn't until the audience started counting that I was like, okay, this might be awesome. Because they're taking this tired Rusev, Titus, Umaga, sort of Goldberg, ice squash wrestler sort of thing, and putting the audience into it. But then, like, every single match, every single thing in NXT, I'm always thinking in the back of my head, will this person work on the main roster? And I don't see... No, I think to myself, for anybody to really be pulled off and to take a spot on the roster, will they hold up in a match against John Cena? Because at this point, that's what the WWE needs to be looking for. They need to be looking for someone that can have a credible match with John Cena. And I can go on and on about why that's the case, but we're just specifically talking about NXT. And I don't think he can. Because outside of that gimmick of him, beating people in a minute, he can be easily forgettable.
Yeah, I mean...
Ryback.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's... I totally agree, 100%. I mean, it's hard to tell if he will be the guy or, if...
I will say,
if he
just
works.
as a disclaimer, I think he's only about a month into this character.
Yeah, so I believe he debuted in September the last super card that they had. So yeah, he's 3 months into this thing, and he's in a feud with another guy who's kind of got the same gimmick. Beating people in less time. The NXT's prior, they would have the cool down squash matches. It's him. So Bull Dempsey. We could talk about this as well. Bull Dempsey came out afterwards and had a stare down, and he has the same thing. He comes out, he beats people in 25 seconds, and then Baron Corbin will come out and he'll beat that guy in 15. And so and again, it's crowd interaction, just like they're both counting as well for both matches. And I think once they kind of have their thing together, because that's what it's building up to. I think we'll see both of them kind of put out a long, decent match, and we can get a better read at how things are. But as far as a cool-down match is concerned, I thought it was a great cool-down because every card needs a cool-down. It can't be Bryan versus Punk for an hour and then Punk versus Brock Lesnar for 2 hours. And then
the Briscoes versus the Young Bucks.
Why not?
I've been
as someone who went to a lot of those Ring of Honor shows through the mid 2000s. I learned the appreciation for a cool down match.
And I've been at WrestleMania 29 where they lined up Taker Punk and then Lesnar, Paul Levesque, and Rock Cena 2. And by the end of, I think it was by the end of Punk Taker, nobody was ready for any more wrestling.
The crowd was totally deflated.
Deflated by Rock Cena. So you need that kind of a shit bird, quick wham bam thank you ma'am match. Because otherwise, could you imagine if people would have been dead by Zayn Neville if you didn't have one of those matches. So, which I actually thought the Steen match was going to be the cool down.
But it was a good they decided to kind of have it be set the pace instead.
Exactly, and I thought that worked very well.
I've said it over and over again. The way you open the show is almost as important as the main event.
And I was going to say,
killed it.
Mm-hmm. There's a reason why I think Dolph Ziggler's the best opening man in the business, because he really sets the pace with all of his matches. So you just need that opener guy, and you need that popcorn quick bathroom break.
So speaking of main events, I think we can almost call this one of the triple co-main event, the triple header co-main events.
Oh, it's not the main event. It's not last.
We have the tag team contest, tag team grudge match. We have the Ascension taking on Hideo Itami. And his friend and tag team partner, Finn Balor. We had a very, very interesting video package to set this up, right, Deej?
Yes, we did. Just if I may, to interject, Finn Balor, the former Prince Devitt of New Japan Pro Wrestling and former leader of the Bullet Club, Too Sweet, and Hideo Itami, the former GHC heavyweight champion and former ROH star Kenta, in a feud against the big dudes, the big tag team of NXT for God knows how long, Connor and Victor, the Ascension.
Yep.
Hideo Itami made his debut in NXT, and the Ascension went after him right away. And for a little while, it was 2-on-1 until Finn Balor came up and evened the odds. And we saw the opening of this contest with a video package and a couple of very interesting entrances. Of course, we saw the Ascension doing their dark and mystical thing that is about to be killed as soon as they're on the main roster. If you've seen the vignettes, my God, they're awful. Hideo Itami came out dressed like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
And Finn Balor brought back an old tradition of his from his days with Shin Nihon Pro-Res. Petey?
Yes. He had at this time. Well, his old tradition is that he would do the kind of serious, kind of a menacing version of Leva Bates's cosplay thing, and that would be kind of his face painting himself in the form of whatever character he so chooses to kind of do a little bit of a psychological warfare. And historically, he's done Venom. He's done basically every Spider-Man related variation or
He was also a Titan from Attack on Titan.
Yes, he was also a Titan from Attack on Titan. He's been the Joker. He's been, so he's platform agnostic when it comes to comic book characters. He's done various ones. This one, he is insistent, is not a specific character, though many people posit that it might be Carnage, I believe.
I thought Carnage as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Carnage.
But he said specifically that it's not a specific character; it's just a general design. But I imagine media inspires media. We're all inspired by somebody.
Copyright.
Yes.
So
even if it's,
please.
yes,
I promise,
even
Vince, it's not a Marvel character, Vince. It's not a Marvel.
With Finn's entrance, the NXT crowd absolutely lost their minds.
yes.
So much so that for the first time ever, I heard a chant saying, "Marking out."
Yeah.
Yes.
Out. I've never heard that before in my life.
Yes.
That's how crazy that was. So much so that they got a really great shot of the Ascension when Finn was making his entrance, and you saw Victor just kind of looking on like, "What the hell? What is going on?" And it was just a perfect camera shot, and this is the kind of thing that really sent this show into high gear. Sean, what did you think of this match from start to finish?
I was expecting a lot more from. I was expecting a lot more from Hideo Itami.
Great. Let me stop you there. Because I have to talk about this. There is one particular moment in this match, Sean, and I want you to think about this for a second, where Hideo got one of the members of the Ascension up on his shoulders, and you saw the crowd absolutely lose their mind.
I don't think they lost their minds. I think they shat their pants. I think that's what it was.
Now, Sean, did you have a thought as to why this happened?
Well, they were chanting TKO a lot during the match. So when he did that and I saw the crowd when they started marking out, I was assuming that was a move that they wanted him to do.
Yes, it is a move that he invented that has not been used in the WWE by him yet. Because it is a move that he invented and kind of made famous in the wrestling world. The move that they were looking for him to do at that moment was the go-to sleep, the GTS.
Oh, okay.
That was his move. So when he had one of the members of the Ascension up on his shoulders, they were actually chanting Hideo.
Yes. Yes.
He had him up on his shoulders, and even the commentary team were like, "No way, he's gonna do it."
Yes.
And
so they're teasing it for the right moment, I guess.
Yes,
I think it's genius to not pull that out for
not quite pull that button, not quite push that button just yet. But yeah, Sean, as you were saying
think
about
that when they saw the reaction that it got, the tease of Hideo hitting his move, the go-to sleep, I think they probably realized, okay, yeah, we can totally let him use the move. It's probably okay.
Now, is that the same go-to sleep from that wrestler from Chicago?
Yep.
Yes.
The same one.
From the guy that's a comic book enthusiast, Walking Dead.
Walking Dead enthusiast.
That's going to UFC. Okay.
Yeah, him.
As you were
Also, right after that, he did the running knee strike,
Yes.
known to him as the Busaiku knee. But here in the United States, it's known as the move used by Daniel Bryan,
Knee
known
plus.
essentially as the move that beat John Cena.
Yes.
So, yes, Hideo Itami has had a couple of moves from his arsenal, let's say borrowed in the past.
Yeah. But yeah, as you were saying, Sean, your thoughts on the match?
Yeah. I actually enjoyed the match. I mean, I guess the crowd had a lot to do with it as well. But because when Finn was coming out, I heard some chuckling from the crowd. Like I thought someone had messed up. But when then he started to come out, everyone was just kind of losing their mind. And then that kind of let me buy into it a little bit more and think it was a little cooler than I initially thought it was. And then I started to mark out for some reason, like I guess hive mind. But then it kind of dawned on me, I've seen this somewhere before. And it seemed like a strange hybrid of Sting, Jeff Hardy, and the Boogeyman all mixed together. And when he came out. But nevertheless, I did like his moveset. I like his work in the ring. I think that I still think they should have done more with Hideo, but I guess it was more of Finn Balor's Balor or Baylor.
Balor.
I think it was more of his debut and his showcase, I guess. So that's why they put him over the rest of them. But I did hear a promo. I did wanted to make this comment from Ascension that reminded me of a late '90s version of Triple H. You know the whole. You better listen.
Oh yeah. They've started getting their debut vignettes on SmackDown in the last week or two. They're awful. I mean, it's like a bad Legion of Doom.
Yes.
So
which is even worse because the Ascension aren't that great to begin with.
So they're moving up. They're moving up to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very soon.
Very, very soon.
Yeah, I was.
Rick,
go ahead. Okay. I guess I just don't see the appeal of the Ascension. I mean, they're
one does.
They're very great.
No one
They're a great powerhouse team. But I just don't see it. I don't know why.
I don't either.
Which is great. I mean, I'm sure they'll do things.
I know. I like it. I like their thing, and I like their whole approach better when it's done by the Devastation Corporation.
Okay. Yeah, I love the Dev Corp. Just because it's Sidney Bacabella.
Yes.
And
maybe that's what they need.
I'm not going to be biased here. Back in the day, there was this tag team, John Davis and Corey Chavis, the Dark City Fight Club. So I think that if you can have a big man bruiser tag team or the Devastation Corporation, awesome. By all means, go for it.
I think they just need a mouthpiece. I think it's just because they talk and I think like
and
you
said,
who was their mouthpiece? Go ahead, sorry.
Originally, they were a faction led by Ricardo Rodriguez in NXT.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And
then
it
was fun.
Then creative had nothing for them, apparently.
Yes.
And I was gonna add for the Hideo stuff. I think everybody does want to see the Hideo Itami, people, him eating people and beating them up and things like that. I think he's just a hell of a babyface in peril.
Yes.
Just because I don't know, man. He's really, really good for being that person in peril. Yeah, he's a very good expressor. I think it's because he's small, but people know like he can beat the shit out of people. I think people are taken back, like, whoa, this guy is getting
Like they believe that he may be in peril now, but if he could just find his opening, he
But when he gets
could
that
turn it
opening,
on.
people will die.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I think that's a reason why they put him in that position, just because he's a really good emoter, and again he just needs that one break, and if he gets it, he's gonna
again, Rick,
destroy.
just that one instance where he teased that one moment. People lost their minds because everyone knew that he was about to just explode and go off and start.
DJM, you know I lost mine because I specifically tweeted you going, "Hey, that GTST's though."
Oh, during the pay-per-view, I absolutely lost it. Like I still go back and watch the clip of Hideo putting the Ascension up on his shoulders and just hearing the crowd and hearing the commentators just say, "No way, he's gonna do it."
Yes,
yeah. And then
that still gets me.
I do want to add my third party opinion from my girlfriend. She was really impressed with Finn as well. Just the entrance alone was like, wow, this guy is like for real, like
Finn's
war
a
paint.
megastar.
Yeah,
Finn's
and
a megastar.
yeah.
I mean, he was already doing stuff and in front of huge crowds in New Japan.
that was. Yeah,
It's only a matter of time with him.
Yeah, but honestly, yes, it is a matter of time. But I still kind of want to see more of them together. I don't really want them to break up just because
I understand that, but I do want to see Hideo in a few more singles matches. Only because I think that only because I'm kind of thirsty for it. I'm kind of thirsty to see Hideo be the guy that I know he is.
Yes, the thirst is real. Yeah, they're just some top quality talent, and I think they did have a great opportunity to like showcase it in this match. And that GTS tease though was just like.
And I see both of them. I could envision both of them on the roster.
Yeah.
On the main roster.
And guys, let me just throw this out there. Somewhere down the line, in a wonderful, wonderful future timeline, Hideo Itami will get a one-on-one singles match with his old former rival from Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling, Noah.
Yes.
You guys know who I'm talking about.
Fandango.
Yes, Fandango. No, Sean, and for anyone out there that may not know, I'm talking, of course, about Daniel Bryan. Him and Hideo, both under their former names, had a series of fantastic matches and a fantastic story with Ring of Honor and Noah. And God, just if I can get that, just everything WWE has done that I've bitched and complained about over the years, I will forgive damn near all of it, except for WrestleMania 19, because I'll never let that go.
Wow.
Never.
You know what? I'd be in favor of Brian coming down to NXT to work out some ring rust and maybe have some fun with Hideo. I'd be in favor of that.
Yes, sort of calling it back in the days. But yeah, we could go on and on for hours and hours on these two guys. But we got a couple more thirds of the triple main event to talk about, which is we're going to talk about the ladies, talk about NXT Women's Championship contest with the boss, Sasha Banks, taking on the one that if you're going to do it with Flair, Charlotte.
Woo! Woo!
Daughter of one Rick, the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Women's wrestling, and this one had an actual proper build-up. Like this one had a video
like a
package.
pretty good long-term storyline. Charlotte and Sasha were the BFFs, now former BFFs. And of course, in the center of all of this was the princess of NXT, Bayley.
Yes.
Because they were mean to Bayley, and if you're mean to Bayley, you're a terrible person.
Yeah,
just like Becky Lynch. And Sasha, being the NXT Women's Champion, decided that, hey, it's not really... Charlotte. saying, hey, we don't need to be mean to Bayley anymore. And of course, Sasha Banks, being the boss, decided, nah, her and Becky Lynch, we're still gonna bully Bayley around. And that led us into this match where Sasha Banks had earned a shot against the genetically superior Charlotte for the NXT Women's Championship. Sean, seeing what you see on Raw and SmackDown with the WWE Divas, what did you think coming out of this?
This is wrestling. You don't say.
No, it was actually a good match, and I was reserving my opinion, trying to really feel it out because I've seen some decent Divas matches in the past, but they actually put on a good show throughout, especially towards the middle to the latter half of the show. Pretty much when the crowd turned around with them is kind of when I was turning around with it as well. I loved how they were really behind Sasha, although I didn't think she was going to win. I kind of had hope that she would win without knowing any of the backstories. Of course, I saw a little bit of the clips, and I saw her, with some other girl. I'm guessing that was Bayley in the little.
Bayley and Becky Lynch. There were two of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Becky Lynch is the one with Sasha, and then Bayley is the one with the almost kind of rainbow pants and with like a
knee
ponytail.
injury. The knee injury.
Knee injury.
Okay. But the match I enjoyed the match. I thought it was a good, well-paced match. It went lots of back and forth, some highs and lows. The psychology of the match was really good. It reminded me of this is like your classic wrestling match between guys, but it was featuring women. As far as Charlotte, that was my first time ever seeing her. I'm aware of her existence, but I've never seen her before, so it was cool to see a Flair wrestle. But outside of that, I thought it was a good spot for that part of the show.
Yeah, it was a good.
I will say that I'd only seen a little bit of Charlotte, and I knew that one of her big things about the whole "I'm genetically superior" gimmick was how super athletic she was. And there was one spot in this match that was almost Kota Ibushi-like in athleticism. It was going into the finish of the match where she attempted a moonsault, but landed on her feet and then turned it into a somersault senton. That was
really impressive.
And from there, I pretty much became a fan of Charlotte in that. But also Sasha Banks. Am I going to be off the mark in saying she might be the best diva on NXT right now? I think she might be. Would it be crazy for me to say I think she might be ready for the main roster?
She has a good persona, yeah.
I think the persona carries her to the main roster. Her wrestling abilities are there, obviously. This is the first out of the NXT like special event type things where it actually had a story. I'm not a fan of divas wrestling and just doing moves, and then it has to tell a story. And I think this is the first time Charlotte kind of had a test almost in Sasha, just because it seemed like Sasha was doing some mind game stuff. This is you're a Flair, really? This is what you're bringing me? If things like that, and I think Sasha is a very good wrestler.
She even did some of the old Flair stuff too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think she's ready to main roster.
She did Charlotte's hold. She did the strut. The Ric Flair almost a little bit of Double J Jeff Jarrett in there, the little strut, the fingers. But yeah, she did the strut. It was a good psychology to the match. It was kind of cool, and it was well wrestled. It had a good pace to it, and it had a really good energy to it. I felt.
I agree. I mean. I think, and I know there's a lot of, at least on the Reddit Squared Circle, there was a lot of, why the because previously Charlotte was on Raw the week prior, where she lost to Natalya. And which Natalya had actually lost to Charlotte 2 specials ago in a great match, and people were kind of losing their shit about it.
Triple H talked about this in a press conference for NXT Takeover, and his answer was, well, because reasons.
Yeah, it's not like, it's not like she was being promoted and then she lost in her debut, things like that. I don't understand why people were losing their shit about it. Because
I think it's because people are expecting Charlotte to get called up soon, and that wasn't a very good way to debut someone that you would think is getting called up soon. But I don't think Charlotte is being called up very soon.
And here's the thing is I don't really want any of the women wrestlers to be called up anytime soon. Just because it's
as someone that likes Emma, someone that's a fan of Emma. Yeah, I don't want them to leave NXT.
I feel like NXT, for a little bit that I watched, I think NXT is wrestling, women's wrestling, and the WWE are divas. And I think like it's almost a demotion because I watched it and it was just like a wrestling match that just happened to have women in it. When I see stuff on Raw, it's like it's almost short of and then a backflip.
Well,
you almost expect, you hear Joey Styles in the back of your head going, "Get fight! Get fight!"
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, women. I mean, in NXT it's called the women's title, where in WWE it's called the Divas title. That's a huge thing. But I mean, I don't really want any of the women to get called up, until they figure out that mess of what's going on.
Poor Emma.
Yeah,
so sad. That makes me so sad.
If anything,
because I love me some Emma. I do.
If anything, I mean, maybe we'll pull back the curtain just a tad. The constant good women's matches that are being put up. Maybe Sarah, the main trainer for women down there, Sarah Amoto, may get a producer spot.
The former Sarah Del Rey.
Yeah, the former Sarah Del Rey. May get a spot as a producer.
Castagnoli.
Do you know who does the booking on Raw?
Multitude of people.
I'm assuming Billy
Writers.
Kidman. I don't know.
Quite a few of them.
I'm gonna give them some free advice. Your next takeover needs to be the women wrestlers of NXT going after the divas and bringing back actual wrestling and taking a few spots.
And that's what kind of what they did a couple things ago with Natalya and Charlotte. Natalya came down to try and win the belts, and they put on a wrestling match, and
Charlotte won.
And Charlotte won, and that's how she's the champion. I personally didn't like the match just because they kind of shoehorned Bret Hart and Ric Flair in, and it was just a move spectacular. There was no real story behind it, and I really don't like Natalya as a wrestler, just because all I think of is Total Divas, where she's bitching about how she made food for her birthday, but it was just a rotisserie chicken, so that she just bought at a grocery store.
If you learn nothing else from this, don't watch Total Divas.
Oh, I fucking love me some Total Divas just because it is the most hilarious reality show ever, even though I know it's all fake. I think it's a running gag here with me and my girlfriend of just like making fun of Natalya and Tyson. Just, Tyson, why won't you have sex with me? Tyson.
I'm watching New Japan. Like, you should be too. You should be watching New Japan as well.
No, honestly, if you just want a laugh, Total Divas is the biggest comedy show on television.
Yes.
Yes, it is. It is.
That's the biggest joke. But yeah, fantastic women's wrestling. I think hopefully a forebearer, a sign of things to come. Overall,
but probably not.
But probably not. We can only hope, but maybe hope less. Now we get to our calling Gavin, channeling Gavin Loudspeaker. Main event of the evening. We have a very, very interesting redemption story. We have Adrian Neville defending the NXT Championship.
Ole, 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 ole.
Sami Zayn, the one, the only, the insane Sami Zayn. There was a nice build-up and really nice story
Beautiful.
surrounding this
That
match, right?
long-term booking, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen. That long-term booking.
But yeah, give us a little bit of a context of what was going on with this match, Deej.
Right. NXT Championship match. Adrian Neville, the champion. Sami Zayn, the challenger. As the story goes, both Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn have been friends for a very, very long time. Adrian Neville, the champion, had been defending the title against other challengers, including Sami Zayn, through less than favorable circumstances. Some might say he was taking the occasional shortcut. But he was not saying, he was saying, I respect everyone, I'm still the same guy, but I'm going to do whatever I can to keep this title. Sami Zayn is, of course, the hero of truth and justice and ska music and everything else that's good in the world. And he, as they say, could not win the big one. For months and months and months, he would earn title shot after title shot after title shot, but he could never beat Adrian Neville, because Adrian Neville would always do that one little tiny extra thing, whether it's getting in the way of the referee or sliding out of the ring or some of those little things that the crowd didn't like very much, just to get that extra upper hand on Sami to defeat him once again. Leading into this match, Sami Zayn said in a promo that if I do not beat Adrian Neville this time at our Evolution, I'm done. I will leave NXT. And so we have the main event. PD Rave, take us in.
Yes, we have the main event, Sami Zayn versus Adrian Neville, and it was an intense contest. And I have to ask, Sean, I believe this may be your first impression for both of these guys, just like with many of the people on the show. What was your opinion on this match from beginning to end? First impressions, thoughts on the match, everything.
All right, let's start with my first impression for Adrian Neville was that this guy is built very interestingly, because he seems like he should be out of the Triple H handbook, but
Yes.
he doesn't fit that wrestling style. I mean, just from a little bit that I've seen him. I guess he seems super jacked up to be doing some of the things that he does.
Mhm.
He is
Lucha
arguably
small.
the best high flyer like in the last 20
Oh,
years.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he definitely has a good look, but I didn't see too much from him personality-wise, which I always have to wait.
It's the accent. It's the accent.
That's his personality. That's charisma. He has a British accent.
Well, that's the way it is with British people. They just rely on the accent to be their personality.
And we see how well that works out for them. Unless you're William Regal, and then you have a job for life. Then that was that. Then who's the other guy?
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. I was a little taken back by his entrance music. I wasn't expecting that from the little vignettes that they had, with their kind of going back into the history. It seemed a little bit, a little cheesy.
Yeah.
But
it is.
I thought you were almost going to say generic.
It is. I would say, give some context. He is, like we said, very good friends with his, and almost kind of almost considers him a mentor. Very good friends with El Generico, whose theme has historically been the Bouncing Souls Ole. As you can see, kind of the connection with
like
the chain.
El Generico, the generic luchador and indie wrestling god, he Sami Zayn, also has an appreciation for punk and ska music. So that's where that came from.
So it makes more sense because I was thinking to myself, why are they saying ole, ole, ole? And they said from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I'm like, okay, I guess it makes sense somewhere.
Actually started his wrestling career in Montreal, Canada, even though he's from Tijuana, Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sami Zayn was the president of the El Generico fan club in Montreal.
Okay, so I was with the audience. The audience had me from the first.
If you get what I mean, Sean. If you get what we're saying.
Let's go ahead and talk about Sean. Go ahead and share your thoughts on the match.
I think I'm getting the inference there. Okay, so anywho, the match started off, and I wasn't really into it. It felt like a Triple H match, in the sense that it's the first maybe 30 minutes of the 2 hours.
Moves.
It's sort of just kind of like the pace is really slow, and about the time that I was getting ready to write it off, I actually wrote in my notes, this match is really slow. And then
slow build.
And as I'm watching it, I'm kind of like, oh wow. And it kind of reminded me of like a Shawn Michaels match, especially when something's high on the line. And they kind of built why do I keep forgetting his name? Sami Zayn. Almost as a Shawn Michaels type character, where he's doesn't win the big match, and then kind of looking at the beats of the match and how it went back and forth. It also reminded me of the Undertaker match as well, how the constant kickouts and how the fans were getting behind it. Long story short, I enjoyed the heck out of this match, especially how it ended, because
they told a really great story. And there was a moment in this match that I really, really enjoyed, because it really brought everything all to a head when the belt, the NXT Championship, came into the ring, and Sami Zayn had a chance, because the ref was down, he had a chance to hit the referee with the belt.
Mm-hmm.
And you could see the crowd, this clearly smarky crowd, being totally invested and caught in the emotion, because this was, is Sami Zayn really going to finally go to the dark side to win the NXT title? But in the end, he didn't. He put the belt down, and the match continued. And in the end, Sami won. He did it the right way, and all was right in the world.
And you know what? There's been a lot of storylines that have kind of went to that well over the year. I mean, the biggest example is Cena versus Wyatt, when Wyatt, gave Cena the chair and said, "Do it," and everybody, I think, he's like, "Do it, Cena."
The entire crowd was like, "Do it, do it."
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the Dean Ambrose stuff just recently, where same thing with Wyatt, hit me with the chair, do it, and of course that's Dean's MO to kind of just go nuts. I think this is the best way they've done it all year, of like, are you really gonna go to the dark side just to win a piece of championship that you haven't won? Just because of the emotion that Sami put in, of just like, he almost cried about it, of just like, is this really how I'm gonna win something that I've dreamed about for a really long time? And just the emotion that he puts out. It's the match is very extraordinary. I say to point out maybe a flaw or two. I think the celebration kind of went on too long.
Yeah.
With
reason. Yes, I understand that. But I mean, I think they could have cut out a couple more minutes, and maybe the point could have gotten across. Maybe even a cool down match would have helped it just a tad. Because the celebration. I mean, we might as well just get into it. Sami Zayn puts over, just amazing match, and he wins the belt, overcomes the odds. He's definitely one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen.
I will say this, as someone who has said for years, I think for a while it was Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson at number 1, and El Generico at number 2. Seeing the success that Daniel Bryan has had in the WWE, I will say that I have unwavering faith in Sami Zayn. If Daniel Bryan's injuries cause his career to stall, I have full faith that Sami Zayn is the chosen one. So I have no doubt that the sky's the limit for him, and this confirmed it.
Yes.
I agree, 100%. I think, if this show says one thing to everybody as far as the LOL Cena wins, turn him heel type stuff, I think there's plenty of guys that can take over for a spot. I think the company's in very good hands with Sami Zayn, Adrian Nemel, Finn Balor, and Hideo Itami and Kevin Owens. Those 5 are that's something.
Yeah,
I can't name a core of people that I've had faith in since the SmackDown 6 when it was Eddie, Edge, Angle, Benoit, Benoit, I guess. Those people, those group of guys, where I'm like, man, those guys are the future, and I think a lot of it has to do with their ability to tell stories, and the
fact that a lot of them have told stories with one another before. Let's just jump right into it.
Mm-hmm. And I was gonna say, and
they're certainly being groomed that way. They're certainly being groomed. Like the sign says, they're not here to fill a spot; they're here to take a spot.
Yeah,
you've seen that sign, they like show. But yeah, as you were gonna say, Rick.
I was gonna say, and there's a clear focus as far as laying things out. There's not.
They're not wasting any time.
They're not wasting any time. They're not saying there's not 4 or 5, 6 different people bouncing off ideas from each other. From just reading, it looks like it's one guy and Paul Levesque bouncing off ideas of each other and writing the stories and doing the booking.
He's making it his baby.
Exactly.
But yeah, getting into kind of the closing moments
of the show.
Yeah. It was before the full celebration happened. We saw one person jump on the apron and greet Sami Zayn, and that his longtime best friend, Kevin Owens, a man who he's shared blood, sweat, and tears, and definitely blood with.
And tag team titles.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Kevin Owens greets him, hugs him. They have this great moment, and everybody knew what was going on, including the crowd. And then, we have the big celebration. It kind of did go on a little along, like Rick says. Then everybody clears out of the ring, and Sami Zayn slowly makes his way out of the ring. And we see Kevin Owens once again greet him as he exits. And then, has his arm over his shoulder, and then lays him out.
Yeah.
Like so many times in the past.
Like this time he didn't say I fucking hate you. I hate your effing guts. But he might as well have.
With a clothesline and a power bomb on the ring apron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you know what?
And the never-ending saga between these two.
We're destined to do this forever.
Yes.
That's what he said in the Indies, and I think it's very great that they're taking advantage of the things that have been built outside that NXT universe.
There was one really great moment during the middle of the show, where you saw the NXT men's locker room. And you saw like Enzo and Big Cass and a few of the other guys from NXT. And then just for a moment, the camera pans over and you see Kevin Owens, and then it backs up a little bit and you see Sami Zayn. And then they both just kind of look at each other without saying a word. When that happened, I was in full fangirl mode. Just, yeah, they're doing it, they're doing it, they're doing it, they're doing it.
And you know what? There's another great callback that I don't think people noticed when at the end where they did the where Adrian Neville and Sami Zayn did the little respect handshake, which you guys know that I love the respect and sport of wrestling.
They go way back.
Yeah, they go way back, but there's also a nice thing where they did the match like a year ago, and they did the same handshake, except they did it through Sammy's eyes, because Neville did the kick of the hand, and then
brothers don't shake hands.
Yep, you
brothers
hug.
Gotta hug.
Yep, and then they reversed it this time around. I might be getting the order screwed up, but I mean it's literally the same exact handshake style that they do, which is a nice little callback from a year ago, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, I know you were talking about. Sean, what was your impression of kind of this closing moment and what it could mean for this, like, their story?
I think it takes, like how you were saying, you have to have a strong opening and a strong closing. You take arguably the two MVPs of this show, and then you give the people who might have been checking it out for the first time, because now the WWE network is non-committal. So you're watching these two kind of like, all right, we're gonna set it up, and you know that already that they have this history of building out these long matches, these long feuds. So you're gonna get to see these two butt heads, and especially because this guy just debuted, he's going straight for the champion. That kind of says a lot about the Kevin Owens persona. As okay, I'm going to go straight to the top, and is he that good that they're going to let him? And that's kind of what's going through your mind as a fan, saying, who might not know who Kevin Owens is, saying, all right, the hype is real. There's a reason why the audience loves this guy, and I think that does a great thing for NXT.
Yeah, it is such a cool storyline to kind of have him lay him out, and and it's so reminiscent as somebody who saw their battle with their fight without honor, when they literally they almost damn near killed each other, to the detriment of a ladder or
guerrilla
two.
warfare, or when they were a tag team. Yeah, just the whole thing.
Yes. But it is. I'm looking forward to things to come from those two in future big events, because they might in fact kill each other, and that's going to be interesting. They might literally kill each other.
That's the best part, is that I don't think this feud has an end in sight. It's kind of the equivalent of what they just did with Ambrose and Rollins. Probably the best. I mean, one of the best feuds this year is them. And while they did have a close, an end feud match, it didn't seem like the end. And I feel like this is one of those feuds that in 10 years, people are gonna be like, oh, we're fucking seeing this thing again. At the equivalent of Cena and Orton type thing. But I think the difference is I don't think anybody will get tired of it.
No, I certainly can't imagine getting tired of it.
I haven't yet. I've yet to get tired.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're what, 4 or 5 years?
Oh no,
5 almost.
No.
Overall, I mean, it's a very long feud. If you
The relationship between those two goes so far back. Like, I've seen the bulk of both of their careers.
Yes.
And it really does go way, way back.
And Rick, you saw it.
I'm saying years.
ROH driven, It is. It's such a good sign of things to come when they continue this going forward. And such a good capper to a really fantastic event overall. And let's talk about conclusions about the event overall. Sean, what was your impression at the end of it, of the event overall, and the direction of NXT, the minor leagues, if you want to call it?
Minor leagues. NXT has made me a fan of wrestling again. When I'm going to watch I'm gonna check it out, and I'm not only that, I'm gonna go backwards. I'm not going forwards because I've seen what the WWE main roster has to offer, and I'm not impressed. To me, when a wrestler leaves NXT to go to the WWE, they're pretty much dead to me. So because
Wow.
I don't
We got
have,
another one, Petey. We got another one.
I don't have faith in their booking or writing anymore. You only can be burned so many times, and if all they can do is take somebody who was really good in NXT or Ring of Honor or one of these other places and repackage them and try to duplicate what they did, I might as well just watch the source material and then look at the next wave of people coming up, and maybe, just maybe, when they do go up, see what they do out of curiosity, just to see. Maybe you're not as bad, but then maybe I'm just confirming what I know.
Yeah.
I like to say, Sean, to that, I have faith in the performers themselves.
Yes.
I never lost faith in Daniel Bryan. I will never lose faith in Sami Zayn. And if there's one piece of word that I can give to anybody that might be having that feeling, oh, NXT is so awesome, but the main roster sucks because they can't write. Have faith. When Daniel Bryan got signed, I just knew in 2009. I knew in my heart of hearts he's going to be a world champion. He's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania. I know. And it took a while, and it was a pretty awful trip getting there,
Yeah.
but it happened. That's why I say I look at a guy like Sami Zayn, and I have faith. I look at Kevin Owens, and I have faith. I look at Hideo Itami and Finn Balor. I have faith. And all I can say is that Triple H is there. He, in a few years, maybe even sooner, will be the guy that's taking more of the hold of the WWE once somebody realizes that Vince McMahon really is completely out of touch and crazy.
Yes.
So the best thing I can say, and maybe this will be our episode title, Petey, is just have faith. That's all I can say.
Just have faith. You gotta have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Faith. Yeah. Well, Rick, what was your impression overall? I don't know if we got a full kind of your thoughts on the impression of the show overall.
Yeah, I think I echo the same words. The only I mean I think we've established that I'm kind of a WWE guy, and you know, I've dabbled in indie wrestling and things like that. I fell out, I'm back in, I fell out, I'm back in. With WWE, this is the first time in a really long time where I've kind of like lost interest in the product, and this is a dangerous time where you could tune out and and then come back in like 6 months and you wouldn't miss a beat. Exactly. So it's one of those, and that's a bad thing when you're creeping up on WrestleMania season.
No, with Daniel Bryan's injury, I've checked out. So.
Mm-hmm. And some people with Daniel Bryan's injury checking out and things like that. This NXT definitely keeps my foot in the door. I really do. I think it's time for me to hang up the Raw cape of tuning in Mondays, and I mean the only thing that's keeping me there is Rusev, and I think it's and Rusev is you have no idea is faith in the NXT brand. Just watch Rusev, man. Rusev is unbelievable, an unbelievable talent, and I think a lot of it is the gimmick, and people bitch about how it's cheap heat and blah blah blah. If it it's fucking working up there, and it work. There's a reason why. It's because they built it up in NXT. Just like old DJ Major said, have faith, because Rusev is the product of NXT, and until they falter with that, you can't really deny the NXT brand. But I mean, it's something. 3 hours of wrestling is a lot to do. With
Especially
NXT,
when there's a lot of filler.
Exactly.
This show has
a lot of filler.
Zero filler.
When there's a lot of filler and there's a lot of no direction, that's a problem. NXT is 50 minutes every week, And there are times where you can miss out, and you'd be like, what's happening? Okay, that I think I got it back. It's NXT is an amazing wrestling product, and I think I'm making a claim saying I think I'm done with Raw for a while. Here's the problem: when WWE comes to your town and you're like, they come once a year, and you're like, man, I really want to go, but I don't want to fucking pay like
Rick,
$30 for one
Raw
person.
was at the Joe Louis Arena here in Detroit just last week, and I was like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
I could do that, or I could watch more. I could rewatch Attack on Titan or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right,
it's
that's
just
exactly right.
when you have that mentality of like, do I really want to spend $30 a
Do I
ticket?
want to leave the house?
No,
And you
things like that.
can't fast forward to a Santino match.
Exactly. Well, and I love Santino, and I love going to live events, but I mean, it's just one of those things
It's a
where
drag. It is a
it's
drag.
3 hours. I've gone to 3-hour Raws, and 3-hour Raws are very.
Especially if the one you go to is the Rock's birthday special.
I went to one where John Morrison almost became King of the Ring. So that was god awful. But
Watch Lucha Underground, everybody.
yeah, you know what?
Watch
And
Lucha Underground. Yes.
I agree with Lucha Underground. But watch it on Spanish commentary. We'll get off track on that. But I loved NXT. I think if you enjoyed this, you should stick with NXT because looking down the I just caught last week's episode and is amazing, especially if you love Kevin Owens and if you love Adrian Neville. I would recommend catching that. And if you don't have WWE Network, I know for a fact they have it on Hulu. So don't be discouraged.
Yes, NXT is on Hulu.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Don't be discouraged if you don't want to WWE Network it and give them $10. You could pay $8 and watch it on Hulu with commercials, obviously.
And then you can catch up on Castle or something, or I don't know.
Exactly.
You can do other things with
like
your
that.
Hulu membership.
Plenty of anime on Hulu. Plenty of
Yes.
anime.
I started watching Space Dandy on Hulu Plus just because they recommended to me. It was just there.
Good choice.
Restaurants and whatnot. DJM, what is your takeaway coming to these guys' opinions and the show yourself?
My takeaway is that this was really just a perfect 2-hour wrestling show. It was absolutely flawless from start to finish. And I haven't seen anything like that in a very, very long time. I was just blown away by that, how from the opening to the ending, I had no gripes. It was just absolutely flawless, and I was blown away. And I thought the fruit basket was completely justified.
Mm-hmm. And I have to echo all those sentiments. It was a fantastic wrestling show, from top to bottom. But yeah, that was a fantastic show of wrestling, and this was a fantastic episode of Fanny Pack Wrestling Podcast. Sean, Anime 3000, tell us all about that, and tell us how much you love having DJM on your
Sean
network.
Russell of the A3K Network over at anime3000.com. Sean, this is the part that you would know as the takeaway. So, Sean, please, you have the floor.
Well, Anime 3000, we're a group of anime and manga fans, and we do something similar to what you're doing every Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about anime or pretty much what's going on in our lives, and you can definitely check that out. But we also have articles and a lot of other content on our website as well. So we're not just podcast. And of course, DJ M is one of our personalities over there. We borrowed him. We're renting him for a little time, and he's doing a fantastic job over at Anime 3000. So yeah, that's pretty much what we do. So if you like anime and manga and that sort of thing, check out anime3000.com.
Mm-hmm. And Rick, we can follow you at Foster on Sports. We can plug the fact that you are joining me and our buddy Mitsula pretty soon for Jury Mania, and we're
That is
gonna be
true.
a big episode for us. Yeah.
Can I come too?
If you,
Yes, you can.
yeah, if you can make it out.
I don't know if like Jury has like legit Heat Brother with me or something.
No, no.
Can I come too?
Yes.
Do
Yes,
it.
come.
Do it. If you're serious, I will include you in the email chain.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
CC you.
You know what? PD and I talked about it at Dragon Con with Justin, and he specifically mentioned your name. So, yeah, you're in.
Hey.
Yes. It will be a fun time in the Bay Area, but yeah, Rick, we're gonna be hanging out at WrestleMania. What else you got going on in the internet?
Yeah, Foster on Sports. I usually now that I've declared my D-love for Raw, I live tweet Raw, funny ha-has on Foster on Sports. I talk hockey sometimes. I've been neglecting the account. If you want personal stuff, I'm on at Rick Foster. And if you want to get a hold of me, that's probably the best way to do it. Also, I have a month off from school, and I'm going to start doing some videos. So you can catch me on Foster Rick. That's Foster and then the word Rick, .wordpress.com. I'll throw out YouTube links. I think I'm going to upload a video in the next couple days of building your own comic book case to enclose your comic books. It's just this is a cover of what I'm working on. I'm going to try it out. I'm playing video games, things like that. So that's a good thing to check out. It's
Check out all those things.
Yeah, so I don't have to do housework around. That's what I'm going to do is do some videos. Otherwise, my girlfriend will get mad at me for why the laundry isn't done. So,
Yes.
so yeah, I'm venturing out in the YouTube world. I'm about 9 years late, but yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Rick Foster, the YouTuber.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting. Deej, what do you got going on at Delta Juliet Mike?
Over at Delta Juliet Mike Media, coming up tomorrow, a brand new episode of the flagship show, Shooting the Shit with Two Nerdy Black Guys. Also, you will be seeing the glorious, triumphant return of the Nanashi Anime Podcast, the anime podcast with no name. Myself and my good friend Lily Inverse, after our 1 year hiatus, because both of us had a really shitty 2014, are finally getting back together to do our little podcast. And the episode coming up next will be all about Revolutionary Girl Utena. Also, coming up in January 2015, coming to anime3000.com with my co-host, now officially announced, Ash Snowshoe, Anime League Sports Show Talking Force Hyperforce Team Go. For you fans of the FSL, you might have heard that little thing I did with Tom Merritt and Justin Robert Young, all about the International Anime League. Well, the IAL is real, the IAL is coming, and it is coming to all things A3K. So stay tuned on the Twitter at JustCallMeDJM.
Yes. The world needs more Snoosh and more Lily Inverse, and I'm glad we're getting it. It makes the internet a better place overall.
I agree.
Yes. But yeah, you can check out this show, FannyPackWrestling.com, Rebellion.net/FannyPack, Rebellion.net for all the other shows, FannyPackWP on the Twitter. You can find us, hopefully, if things keep working out, continuing to be here live every other Sunday on DiamondClub.tv, as long as there are no conflicts with any other podcasts.
And as long as I don't piss anybody off.
Exactly. As long as Gadawag lets us. Thank you, Gadawag. We love you.
Thank you, Gadawag.
Yes. But yeah, check out us every other Sunday evening. I also post the audio podcast on Mondays. Usually include little tidbits here and there. But yeah, check out all the shows: iTunes, Stitcher. Subscribe, like. Before I leave you, as I always have Chinese food on Sunday, I have my fortune cookie. Fools use tomorrow, wise use today. So this fool wishes
in
you
your
happy
pants.
So this fool will see you tomorrow. Until next time, hasta los huevos.
Beans and disease. And that's a show, guys.
Holy smokes, that was really good.
I had a good time.
We overloaded, but man, amazing.
See you at DiamondClub.tv. Glad to see you guys over there.
Thank you, Diamond Club, once again. Thank you. I appreciate your tolerance of DJM.
Bye.